A Florida woman beaten to death inside a county jail, but records show she should not have been there in the first place. A judge had ordered Gemma Shunky to be taken to a state mental health hospital a month before she died last year. And we've uncovered she's not the only one who was waiting. Hundreds of inmates have been waiting months to be transferred, although state law requires them to be transferred within 15 days of a court order. Investigative reporter Riley Phillips has part one of our series, Held Without Help.
Dear Susan, I spoke to you today. You don't know how refreshing it really was.
Words from a friend.
Help. I know you'll try your best. You're my best friend.
Susan Owens remembers the first day she met Gemma Shunky.
We met at the mission house. I started out by wanting to pray with her, and she didn't want anything to do with prayer, so she got up and walked away and was saying all kinds of expletives, and I knew right then and there that I was going to have to look out for her.
It would blossom into a nearly 9-year friendship, Owens often thinking of Gemma as a sister.
So you knew that she struggled with her mental health?
Yes, because she was on Medicaid, and so she had insurance. She could go to the doctor.
Owens says Gemma felt her best when she was taking the proper medication, but that didn't always happen. Gemma had been arrested a handful of times over the last 10 years. Most of the crimes were misdemeanors.
And I always felt good knowing she was warm and clean. Most of the time she was in the lockdown unit, where she was in a cell by herself and only out for a period of time. And I never had to worry about, I didn't think anyway, I never had to worry about anything happening to her.
Gemma was arrested one final time in April of 2025. She was charged with 3 misdemeanors. While in jail, she was also charged with battery in a detention center. A judge found her incompetent to stand trial and ordered her to be sent to a state mental health facility on July 18th. Gemma died a little over a month later on August 22nd. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says Gemma was beaten by her cellmate, Virginia Hampton. Hampton was later charged with second-degree murder. Her arrest report states the coroner ruled Gemma's death a homicide because of blunt force injuries, but Gemma should not have been in jail at that time. Florida law requires inmates who are deemed incompetent to stand trial to be sent to a state mental health facility within 15 days of the judge's order. Gemma remained in jail 35 days after her court order. A spokesperson for JSO told me Gemma was not transferred to the Florida State Hospital because of capacity issues at the facility. Owens was devastated when she got the call.
They couldn't give me any answers. No one would give me any answers after that. Tell me anything you want to in your letter. I love you, Gemma.
Holding on to the letters Gemma once wrote her, Owens hopes her death will shine a light on a growing problem.
She really was like my family, and everyone in my circle of friends knew that too. Oh, I saw Gemma today, and I loved seeing the woman that she was growing into.
A state agency is breaking the law and nobody is holding them accountable. Our investigative team has found people needing psychiatric treatment waiting 6 times as long as they're supposed to, all while sitting behind bars. In part 2 of Held Without Help, our team uncovers new documents showing that there are hundreds of inmates in the state waiting months to be transferred. This is a story about a mother who wouldn't give up.
This was sent to DCF and various other agencies.
Even when the system seemed to work against her.
Yes.
With her daughter's mental health at stake.
It's really a very broken, poor system, and nobody cares.
Paula's daughter Danielle was diagnosed with schizophrenia in her 30s.
Has been sick for a number of years.
Under Florida's Baker Act law, someone with mental illness can be involuntarily given treatment if he or she is a threat to themselves or others. Danielle was Baker Acted a dozen times in Broward County.
Yes, because her behavior was irrational at times. With schizophrenia, you live with hallucinations and delusions.
Paula, fearful for her daughter's safety, even tried to get her a judge to mandate she go to treatment. But both times, the cases were dismissed.
It was just really an unfair, a terrible, broken system. It really is.
Not able to get Danielle the help she knew she needed, her daughter would find herself in trouble with the law.
She then got arrested first in September, same thing, reckless driving, and I put up the bond to get her out.
But while she was waiting for her court appearance, she was arrested again and her bail revoked.
She was incarcerated January 6th. She was deemed incompetent on February 12th at a court hearing.
According to state law, once an inmate is deemed incompetent and ordered to the state hospital, they have to be moved within 15 days. So when she's deemed incompetent at that court hearing, did you know the state law at that time? Did you think, okay, well, she'll be going to the state hospital in this many days, or you just expected?
I expected that it would be soon, within a month at least, but it wasn't happening. And every time I reached out to the public defender, DCF, and everybody had the same response. We have no time frame in mind. When there's a bed available, that's when she'll be moved.
It would take more than 6 months until Danielle was finally transferred.
And I kept calling, writing letters, and got really nowhere. The same blanket response. When a bed is available, that's when we'd move.
Our investigation uncovering Danielle isn't the only one waiting. Court documents show as of last July, 881 individuals were on the wait list. At the time, men were waiting 117 days and women 125. The findings coming from a court order for the Department of Children and Families to show cause as to why they should not be held in direct contempt for not placing another inmate in a forensic facility within 15 days.
No, there's no accountability at all as far as I'm concerned in the whole system.
DCF added while the legislature added funding for additional bed space, there are continued staffing shortages and the wait list has increased by 74% in the past 5 years.
Well, we were aware that this could be a problem, and we started to tackle it with Senate Bill 330 that I co-sponsored.
Senate Bill 330 is also known as the Behavioral Health Teaching Hospitals Act. The governor signed it in 2024 as part of a Live Healthy initiative. Senator Rusan says it will create beds for those mentally ill by allowing licensed hospitals to be designated as teaching hospitals, offering a psychiatric residency program and behavioral health services. The law also required a study of the state's resources for behavioral health. The report found that the department would need to add at least 1,602 additional beds within the next 5 years to meet the demand.
That's going to take time. What about the inmates now that are waiting?
Well, like I said, it's top of mind, and we are going to do something to relieve that.
Time ran out for Gemma Shunky.
No one would give me any answers after that because it was shortly after that phone call that I found out that she had passed.
She was killed by another inmate after waiting more than a month to be transferred to a state hospital.
I just never ever thought something like that would happen.
It's the order for continuing commitment for involuntary placement.
As for Paula,
It's heartbreaking. You know, I could sit here and cry what happened to her. Nobody wants to be ill, you know.
she worries about the others behind bars being held without help.
I was actually waiting in the correctional facility one day, and there was a man getting discharged. He said to me, "I will tell you, most of the people here in this correctional facility are not criminals. They are mentally ill, and they're not getting any help."
Now we reached out to a dozen jails around the state looking to see how long inmates are waiting. Nearly every single jail had an inmate waiting more than 100 days. And as the senator said, this is a top issue. They plan on increasing the funding for DCF, and we'll see what develops during the legislative session. Thanks for watching. I'm Jennifer Titus.